While Nova Scotia battles a growing measles outbreak, a national debate is heating up over who should have a say in Canada's future. A Canadian senator says that it's past time for Canada to lower its voting age to 16, as the United Kingdom has recently done. The senator also argues that decisions being made in Canada now will affect younger generations, but not everyone agrees. Our contributor, David Clement, has more on the case against allowing 16-year-olds to vote.
With Senator Mary Lou McPhedran recently pushing to lower Canada's federal voting age from 18 to 16, inspired by the UK's similar move, proponents argue it's a step towards empowering youth and boosting democracy. But let's pump the brakes for a minute. Lowering the voting age risks enfranchising individuals who, by society's own standards, aren't ready for such weighty decisions. I'll outline why sticking with 18 makes sense, focusing on the inconsistencies in how we treat minors, their limited capacity for understanding consequences, and the potential to turn high schools into political battlegrounds. First, consider this. If 16-year-olds aren't trusted to make basic adult choices, why hand them the power to shape national policy? In Canada, the legal drinking age is 19 in most provinces, 18 in Alberta, Manitoba, and Quebec, because we recognize that teens' brains aren't fully wired for responsible alcohol use, leading to risks like impaired judgment and health issues. When it comes to gambling, that's off limits too, until 18 or 19, depending on the province. As provinces know, minors are vulnerable to addiction without grasping the financial pitfalls. Now, yes, supporters may say that driving starts at 16, which it does, but with strict graduated licensing, curfews, passenger limits, zero tolerance for alcohol, acknowledging their inexperience behind the wheel. They can't sign binding contracts, get tattoos without parental consent, or even buy cigarettes until 18 or 19. These safeguards exist for a reason, to protect young people from decisions that could harm them in the long term. Now, voting isn't just a right, it's a responsibility that influences taxes, wars, and social programs. If society deems 16-year-olds unfit for these everyday choices, enfranchising them creates a glaring double standard, potentially leading to ill-informed votes swayed by peer pressure or incomplete worldviews rather than mature deliberation. And that brings me to the justice system, which explicitly treats minors differently because they can't fully comprehend the consequences of their actions. Under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, Canadians aged 12 to 17 face lighter sentences, rehabilitation, overpunishment, and sealed records rooted in the science that adolescent brains are still developing, with the prefrontal cortex responsible for impulse control and foresight not maturing until later in life. We don't hold them to adult standards in court because they lack the emotional and cognitive maturity to weigh long-term outcomes. And yet for voting, which demands exactly that, understanding how policies ripple through society, the economy, and for future generations. Critics of lowering the age, including those in past Quebec reforms, have dismissed it for this very reason, noting that teens often prioritize short-term gains without grasping broader implications. If a 16-year-old can't fully be accountable for a crime due to immaturity, how can we expect them to responsibly elect leaders who make life-altering laws? Finally, think about our high schools. Lowering the voting age would inevitably politicize classrooms, turning education into a partisan arena. Campaigns would target teens directly, ads in high school hallways, rallies on high school campuses, teachers, whether wittingly or not, influencing discussions on hot-button issues like climate or taxes. This could divide students along ideological lines, fostering bullying over political views, and pressure educators to navigate minefields of bias accusations. In places like Austria, where 16-year-olds vote, studies show lower turnout and less informed choices among youth, but also reports of schools becoming echo chambers. Canada prides itself on neutral public education. Injecting electoral politics risks eroding that, distracting from learning, and prematurely thrusting kids into adult decisions. In sum, while youth voices matter, 18 remains the logical threshold, aligned with other adult milestones backed by developmental science. Let's encourage civic education instead of rushing to dilute the vote. Back to you.